Liberals writ large have run deficits for a decade now. This is also one of the largest deficits outside of COVID. Is there a philosophy behind this? Are you into modern monetary theory?
Oh,
Are you a Keynesian?
Come on, come on, Greg, you know better than to
how
throw
can
these
Canadians
insults.
be presented with continuing budget deficits with no plan to balance?
That's pas too, okay. All right. First, we have the best balance sheet in the G7. We have one of the best in the OECD, so the 30 countries of the OECD. We have the second lowest deficit in the G7. We have one of the lowest deficits in the OECD. That continues to be the case over the forecast period. That's the first point. The second is the philosophy, the approach. As I think you know, or you would know from reading the first page of the budget, is that we are getting spending under control, slowing spending from 8% growth, which had been the case for the last decade, to less than 1%, so less than the rate of growth of the economy, by eliminating duplication, eliminating waste, cutting red tape, making the public service more productive, giving them new tools and making it more productive so that Canadians get not just the same service but better service with less. So we're doing that over the course. That's new. And any deficit financing is for the investment that is going to grow this economy. And that's the amount that leads to that $1 trillion of overall investment, which is worth, in the estimation of, well, half of that, candidly. It's only the estimate I gave you, the $3,500 per head for every Canadian, is based on only half of that amount. You'll find that in the budget documents. Hopefully you were in the lockup for several hours and you had time to read it. So that's the approach. And that's a different approach. It's an approach that grows the economy. And let's be clear where we are. We're in a situation where the change in U.S. tariffs, where the uncertainty caused by all the changes in the world and all the pressures in the world are holding our economy back. We choose to move forward. We choose Canada. We choose with confidence to invest in Canada. And that's what is going to bring us the prosperity that Canadians deserve.
It was meant to be a tense press conference, the kind packed with sharp questions, pointed fingers, and political traps. But what unfolded instead felt like a masterclass in composure. Because today, Mark Carney didn't just appear as Prime Minister, he appeared as the calmest man in the room. From the very first exchange, it was clear this wouldn't be business as usual. The first question wasn't really a question at all. It was an accusation. A reporter charged Carney with having no plan, no philosophy, and no control over Canada's finances, claiming the government was running on spin, not substance. The tone was harsh, the intent was obvious, but Carney's response? Surgical. Without raising his voice, without missing a beat, he went straight to the facts, the kind no one in that room could dispute. Canada, he reminded them, holds the strongest balance sheet in the G7 and the second lowest deficit across all 30 OECD nations. Spending growth, once above 8%, has been brought below 1%. Waste is being eliminated, duplication cut, and the civil service modernized to deliver more with less. Then came the line that shifted the entire room. Hopefully you had time to read the first page of the budget. The air changed, the tension evaporated. Reporters who came to provoke found themselves silenced, not by anger, but by authority. In that moment, Carney didn't defend himself. He demonstrated control. It wasn't about politics. It was about proof, the kind of confidence that separates those who talk for headlines from those who act for history.
So my question is, Canada, as I don't need to tell you, is in competition for capital with the rest of the world. Tax is a consideration, but how do you persuade investors to invest into a country where The forecast at the moment is for decline rather than growth.
Ian, I'm sorry to correct you. The forecast is for growth. The forecast of the IMF, which came out literally weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, is that Canada will grow at the second fastest rate in the G7 after the United States. Now, it's not growing under that forecast at a rate that we're satisfied with, or I think Canadians would be satisfied with. So it's not decline, it's growth.
Then came the next challenge. Another reporter, another accusation. This time the claim was harsher, that under Mark Carney, Canada's economy was faltering, investors were losing confidence, and growth was collapsing. Carney didn't flinch, he didn't even pause. Instead, with that same steady calm, he reminded everyone of one simple truth. According to the latest IMF data, Canada is projected to be the second fastest growing economy in the G7, trailing only the United States. And that growth, he emphasized, isn't happening in ideal conditions. It's happening despite global uncertainty, despite tariffs, and despite a flood of misinformation designed to paint a darker picture. In that moment, Carney wasn't just defending numbers, he was defending reality itself. In an age where headlines twist narratives and soundbites distort the story, he relied on the one weapon that still cuts through the noise: facts. The more the press tried to corner him, the clearer it became. Carney wasn't the one under pressure, he was the one rewriting it. What they thought would be an interrogation turned into a lesson in leadership. Calm, factual, and completely unshaken.
And I would especially like to thank, I will repeat that, Chris's decision to join the government caucus at this crucial moment for our country is exceptionally valuable and important.
Then came the headline moment, the one that rippled through Ottawa like a political earthquake. Mark Carney confirmed what no one expected. Chris Dantram, a veteran Conservative MP, had officially crossed the floor to join the Liberal caucus. For Carney, this wasn't about party lines or point scoring. It was about trust, the kind that can't be spun or staged. Because when members of the opposition start walking across the aisle to stand with you, it signals something bigger than politics. It means conviction is shifting, confidence is spreading. Carney didn't gloat. He didn't need to. Instead, he called Dantram's decision exceptionally valuable and important, a simple phrase that carried enormous weight. The symbolism was unmistakable. Even the opposition now recognized where leadership, discipline, and direction in this country truly reside. What was meant to be a routine announcement became a statement of momentum, proof that Carney's steady hand wasn't just guiding the government, it was reshaping the landscape of Canadian politics itself.
It's estimated, you'll find in the budget, it's estimated that U.S. tariffs and the uncertainty that they're creating will cost us around 1.8% of our GDP. Let me translate that. That's about $50 billion lost from our economy, or the equivalent of $1,300 for every Canadian.
And then came the question that defined the moment: the U.S. tariffs and the pressure they've placed on Canada's economy. Carney didn't dodge it. He didn't downplay it. He faced it head-on with the same calm precision that's become his trademark. He acknowledged the cost. The tariffs shaved 1.8% off GDP, amounting to roughly $50 billion, or about $1,300 per Canadian. But that's where his leadership set him apart. Because instead of stopping at the damage, he talked about the response, the plan, the action, and the comeback. Under Carney's leadership, Budget 2025 isn't just a reaction, it's a blueprint for resurgence. It mobilizes over $1 trillion in total investment across 5 years, fueling new growth of 3.5%, more than offsetting the entire tariff hit. That's not recovery, that's renewal, that's proof of resilience in motion. With that, Carney reframed the entire debate. Yes, the U.S. can impose tariffs. Yes, Trump can try to squeeze Canada. But as Carney made crystal clear, Canada, under his leadership, will no longer wait for America's permission to prosper. He declared, while we can't control what the U.S. does, we can decide what happens here. And that single line may go down as one of the defining statements of his premiership, a declaration of sovereignty, strength, and self-belief. What began as a tense media appearance ended as a moment of national confidence. Carney faced a skeptical press and left them speechless. He turned criticism into clarity, misinformation into education, and pressure into purpose. Across the country, Canadians saw something rare, a leader who doesn't flinch, doesn't lash out, and doesn't lose focus when the stakes rise. In an era of outrage and noise, Carney proved that calm, informed leadership still wins. He didn't just answer questions today, he answered doubts. He reminded Canadians that true strength isn't loud. It's steady, grounded, and unmistakably Canadian. You're watching Canada Newsline, independent, factual, and unapologetically Canadian. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on the story shaping Canada's next chapter. And tell us in the comments, do you think Carney's calm leadership is exactly what Canada needs right now?